Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Work Hard, Live Soft podcast, where I teach you how to build a successful business so you can design the life that you love. So I'm really excited for today's episode. I'm going to be talking about why you are not getting results in your life or your business, your finances, just any area of your life where you are wanting to grow. And so I was thinking about this, just thinking about my own journey, not only just in business, but how I prepare for things, how I find success in the things that I'm focusing on in a season. And so, as you know, I host an annual event every year called Impact Weekend. And for this event, I'm always preparing how I'm going to look on stage. And so I have to book my makeup artist, I have to book a stylist, and just figure out like what outfits and stuff I'm going to wear. And so when I'm preparing for this, I'm also usually trying to get in really good shape. One, because I want to look really good in my outfits, but also I need to be able to breathe on stage while I'm walking in heels and standing in heels for 8 hours a day and teaching. And so typically I work out with a trainer and I order meal prep, or I have somebody cooking for me, helping me with my meal prep just to make sure that I'm eating right. And when I was working with my trainer, he ended up switching gyms. And so he went from being like 12 minutes away from me to 22 minutes away from me. And so anybody that knows me knows that I hate commuting. I do not like commuting at all. I just feel like it's so inconvenient. So literally anything that's more than like 14 minutes away from me, I deem it as being far away. So when my trainer ended up switching gyms, I was like, you know what, I just can't do this. So I took it upon myself to say, I could just work out on my own, right? I've worked with trainers before. I'm sure that I can figure it out. And so I think by the time I had stopped working out with him and stopped training with him, I was maybe like 158 or like 160 pounds or something like that. And so I'm trying to find like other trainers. I'm trying to find other ways to work out. I tried a kickboxing gym. I tried just going to my local gym. And I started just figuring out my own foods instead of asking him for advice or asking other fitness professionals for advice, which is what I used to do before. And as time went on, I was maintaining. And then as time went on even more, I started to gain weight slowly but surely. And it's one of those things that it happens so subtly and you don't really recognize until you're like 8 to 10 pounds bigger and you're breathing a little bit heavier that you're like, okay, wait a minute. What I'm doing is not working. And so when I think about that, I also think about how it parallels to my business, because you'll be doing things, you'll be doing the content, you will be writing your copy, you'll be doing the photo shoots, and you're thinking things are working. And then you're 3-4 months down the road and you're looking at your revenue and you're like, wait a minute, I'm not making as much money in my business as I thought. And even scarier than that is when you recognize that your business isn't growing in the way that you thought, or you're not getting the results that you thought. And so as I was reflecting on this, thought process of trying to get results, I recognize that there are 3 things you will notice when you are looking to grow with your finances or with your health or with your business. And so when you're aiming for success, you're going to recognize 3 things. You're either going to be experiencing regression, meaning that you are going to a lesser state, or you're going to be experiencing retention, meaning that you are in a constant state, you are in a remain state, or that you are experiencing results, meaning that you are advancing to a level and advancing forward to a direction that you're trying to work towards. And so I recognized when I was with my trainer that I was getting results, or I recognized that when I was doing certain things in my business, I was getting results. And so I had to be honest with myself, like, okay, girl, if you want these results, if you want to look good on stage, if you want to feel at your best, you want to be able to have the energy, you need to get very serious about what it looks like to get results. When I'm on a health kick and getting back into fitness, I feel really confident when I have a cute set on. And typically I wear neutrals or solids and stay away from patterns, but with the weather being nice and warm, I've been getting into more colors and patterns lately. That's why I've been really into the Bold collection from Elious. because not only are these sets super cute, but they feel so good. And they're really flattering and supportive. They're buttery soft, they're really flexible, and flattering without being too revealing. And they have pockets. Everybody loves pockets. All sets are $55 now, but you can get your first set from the Bold collection for just $40. And sizes range from small to 3X, so there's a fit for everybody. Go to rebelliousfit.com and use the code HARDWORK to get $15 off your first set from the Bold collection. That's rebellious with 1L fit.com. And so one of the things that I think people do, including myself, is we think that doing the same things over and over will get us the same results, right? Like in my mind, I thought if I keep just exercising and eating right, that I can maintain my weight. And so I ended up actually regressing instead of maintaining or retaining the results that I already had, because I was not putting in the right amount of effort and I wasn't doing the right work. And so what you will realize is that when you are going backwards, you're either not doing any work, or you're not doing enough work, or you're not doing the right work. At this point, I'm probably between 165 to 168 pounds, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I just had really specific goals. But let's say I wanted to stay at 165 pounds. Most people will think, okay, in order for me to stay at 165 pounds, I'm just not going to do anything, right? And we just think if I literally change nothing, I can stay at the same weight. If I literally do nothing, I could stay at the same weight. But what happens is we actually start going backwards, because even maintenance requires work. And so many times we are doing the work of maintenance and we're ending up going backwards, because even to maintain, you need a level of effort to keep that momentum. And so when you're wanting to stay in the same place, you have to say, okay, what is the work that is required to keep the momentum? Because if you're not even doing the work to have some level of momentum and keep up a level of just energy that's going to allow you to stay in the same place, you're going to end up going backwards. So I recognize girl, you're not doing the same work. And what I also recognize is that when I was working with a trainer, he would know what workouts I had done before. He would know the type of weights that I was doing, and let's say I was squatting 160 pounds when I was working out with him. And then he would say, okay, this week we're going to go up. We're going to go up. I was able to get results because I would increase the level of effort. I would increase the level of weights. Now, if I was working out with him and I said, hey, I want to maintain, I would continue working out, but I would be keeping the same weights. So hopefully I'm making the point without going too much into detail. But the point is you have to put in a level of effort. And so the other day I was rereading the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, a really fantastic book. And if you guys want to see my list of books that I like, go to mayaelious.com/Amazon, and you could see all of the books that I've been reading recently. But I was listening to Atomic Habits, and he was just talking about the power of just getting 1% better every day. And that's what it essentially comes down to, right? If you want to have more money in your bank account, you have to get 1% better in making more money. You have to get 1% better, or 1% with an increase of how much you are saving or how much you are investing. You actively have to make a decision to be better. And one of the other things that he was talking about is it's not enough just to set goals, right? It's not enough for me to say, I want $1 million business. It's not enough for me to say, I want to lose 2 inches in my waist, or I want to lose 10 pounds. One of the things that I found really profound is that he was saying losers and winners both have goals. Losers and winners both want to be winners. And so what is the key differentiator between one person who wants to win and another person who wants to win? And that key differentiator is going to be your systems. And so you have to ask yourself, do I have a system of winning? If I want to be in the best shape of my life, do I have systems in place to get me there? Am I going to the gym 2 times a week and saying I want to win? Or am I going to the gym 4 times a week, tracking my workouts, increasing the weight in which I lift every single week, and making sure that I'm eating the right calories to help me get the best possible results. And so many times we're wanting to win, we're wanting to advance, we're wanting to get results, but we've missed out on the key factor of I need to actually have systems in place. And that is where I find, where coaching and trainers and just getting support comes in place, because also sometimes we don't really know what the right systems are. I thought I was doing the right things. I thought going to the gym and maybe doing 30 minutes of cardio was enough. I thought just eating my salmon and sweet potato was enough, but not really understanding macros, not really understanding how much protein I needed. And so I want you to think about what areas of your life have you been working to improve for years and you haven't been seeing any results. And I need you to be really honest with yourself. One, are you even clear on what your target is in terms of how are you measuring success when it comes to your goals? Because if at the end of the year, you're wanting to save an extra $5,000 and year after year after year, you're looking at your account and you've only saved maybe 500, or maybe you've actually gone backwards, you have to honestly take a look and say, have I implemented a system that is working for me? And the results will speak to that. So I just wanted to encourage you all who have been working to advance towards something and you're finding that you're not seeing results, you might just have to work harder. And that's what I really think is happening in 2024. It is challenging. I'm not even going to lie. Like, I was actually having a conversation with my sister the other day, and I was saying, I have to work harder and I don't want to. I feel like 2024 and even part of 2023, I was feeling like I'm working 3 times harder to get the same results, right? And I think that's part of where the concept came from in terms of I have retention in my business in terms of we're not necessarily losing, but we're also not really growing, but I'm doing the work. And so now I have to take a look, okay, are you doing the right work? Do you have the right systems in place? And so there's a lot of trial and error when it comes to your growth. You have to take the time to look at your systems. Now, another thing that I want you to pay attention to is how long have you been implementing these systems? How long have you been trying to figure out these goals? Because one of the things that James talked about in Atomic Habits is that there's this like threshold in which you see results start to happen, right? If you put an ice cube in a freezer that is 26 degrees and then you increase the temperature to 27 degrees, nothing happens. And you increase it to 28 degrees, nothing happens. You increase it to 29 degrees, nothing happens. To 30, to 31, nothing happens. But when you then increase it to 32 or 33, that's when it starts finally melting. And so also considering like, okay, I am doing the work, I am showing up, but what is going to be that like pivot or that ultimate like turning point where you finally start to see results? How do you get yourself, your business, your finances at that 32 to 33 degrees where you can finally start seeing an actual change? And so sometimes it's not about the amount of years you're putting in, it's going to be the amount of effort. So one thing that I thought about in regards to making system is like, okay, well, what is my process for creating systems? And I actually didn't write it out, so we're going to kind of just brainstorm it together for today's episode. But my brain automatically thinks in systems with everything that I do. Like in my house, I love organization. I love things to look and operate a certain way. And so I create systems so everything has a place. Or when I know I want to embark on something new, I create a new Google Doc or I create something new in my project management system. And so I'm like, okay, well, what is my process for creating systems? So the first thing that I think about is what is the end result, right? Like what is the goal? What is the target? Of course, the goal can't be the only thing that we focus on, but the goal is giving us direction in how we should be operating. So if you have a financial goal, maybe it's to save, $5,000. If you have a health goal, maybe it is to increase your muscle by 5%. If you have a goal to get more clients, maybe it's to increase your revenue by $20,000, whatever it is. So the first thing is you want to create a goal. You want to identify, where am I trying to go? The second thing that you want to do is you want to identify where you are right now, because this is also going to tell you, like, why do you even want to have that goal? So where are you right now? And how can this goal change your life? So maybe you want to save $5,000 because you want to invest in something specific, or you want to save $5,000 because you dealt with something financially the previous year and you didn't have the money and you had to spend it on a credit card and it messed up your credit score. Like, there has to be an actual reasoning, an actual why, an actual desire, or else you're not going to stay committed to the process. You're not going to stay committed to the system. So first thing is, what is the goal that I want to reach? Second thing is, where am I now and why is this goal important to me? So for me, like, I want to continue growing my business for a couple of reasons. One, I want to make sure I'm able to consistently pay my team. I do find a lot of joy in being able to have a team of primarily women or creatives of color and being able to pay them really well for their work. So that's part of the reason. And so when I look at where I am right now, I think to myself, if nothing changed in my business, how many months of salary do I have saved up to be able to pay them? And the lower that number gets, the more it drives me to show up in my business. So I look at where I am now and I connect it to my why. Then the third thing that I look at is, what are my gaps? What is keeping me from getting more clients? What is keeping me from saving more money? What is keeping me from building more muscle? What is keeping me from losing the weight? And so I take a look at, what are some things that I'm not doing right now that I should be doing? And I find that it's either going to be a gap of knowledge. Maybe you don't really know what you're supposed to be doing and you have to research that knowledge, whether you Google it, you chat GPT it, or you hire a professional to be able to help you, which is why I really believe that trainers, coaches, consultants, mentors are so important, because you don't know what you don't know. So sometimes there's a gap in, I know that there's a gap, but I don't really know how to fill that gap. Sometimes there's a gap in work ethic. Sometimes there's a gap in finances or just resources, right? Like for me, when I'm wanting to improve with my health, like I know that I need to be eating more, and specifically more nutrient dense food, or eating more protein. The gap for me is, I hate cooking. I don't like cooking for one person. I don't believe in the ROI of cooking for one person. Now, when I have a family, I'm happy to cook, but the idea of spending time to cook and clean up the dishes and all of that, when it takes me like 7 minutes to eat, like I just haven't come to terms with cooking. So I'm like, well, the gap is, I need to find a new meal prep company. So then I know the work that has to go into filling that gap. Okay, figure out one, what you need to be eating. Then 2, figure out who is going to cook it. And then figure out 3, do you have the budget to be able to take care of this? So sometimes it is just a gap in resources. How can you get support in closing these gaps? So you have to take a look at, what do I need? Is it lack of knowledge or is it lack of resources? And then you have to say, am I willing to do the work to close this gap, right? That is an honest question we have to ask ourselves, because it's really easy to fall into excuses when you're building out a system and you're recognizing gaps. We all have gaps in our business, in our marketing, with our health, with our relationships. And you have to say, am I willing to do the work to close this gap? Am I willing to make more money to be able to hire the chef? Or am I going to just wake up an hour earlier on a Sunday and just do the cooking by myself? But you have to be able to honestly ask yourself that question and be able to close that gap. So then I look at that gap, and then I create like a step-by-step process in how that gap will be filled. So let's say, I don't find a meal prep company, or I don't find the chef. Then I have to say, okay, the gap is me cooking. I now have to create a process that's not going to drive me crazy on now cooking. Okay, 1, I'm building out, my meal prep. I'm figuring out how much protein I need to eat. 2, I'm ordering my groceries every Saturday and Thursday. 3, I'm making sure that I cook on Sundays, and I find my weekend food or cook my weekend food on Fridays, whatever it is. But you have to create the process in how you're going to fill this gap. Identifying how to solve the problem and actually doing the work to solve the problem are two different things, and it's really important to understand that. So knowing that I need to eat more and fulfilling a process that actually allows me to eat more, those are two separate things. And I think this is what gets people hung up, especially in business. I notice this a lot with people who are like, I need to create more content in my business. And it's like, okay, so when are you going to create that more content? Because you know that you work a 9 to 5, you know that you have 2 kids, you know that you have a husband, you know that you have people relying on you. So we have identified that the solution is creating more content. Have you created a process or a system within your system to create that content? Are you going to delegate? Are you going to have the work ethic? So that is how I create my system. First, identifying what the goal is. What am I actually targeting? What am I actually striving towards? Second, understanding where I am right now and why it matters to me. Third, identifying what the gap is. What is keeping me from getting where I am now to getting to where I have to go. And then fourth, creating some type of roadmap to actually implement what I need, a roadmap to actually close that gap. Then one extra thing that I will add in is essentially what I've been talking about for this episode. You're doing the work, you're testing things out. I would test your system and I would test your process for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You need to have a consistent time period of implementing. You need to have a consistent time frame of implementing something, implementing a system or a process for you to actually test it. Now, here's what I'll say. You can't do something inconsistently and then decide that it's not working, right? I've seen this, as a coach who's been working with people for over 10 years, I've seen people do things inconsistently and they'll be like, oh, it's just not working. And it's like, well, how long did you do it? Oh, for 2 weeks? That's not consistent. Oh, you did it for 30 days, but you fell off by week 3. And so you were inconsistent the last week to week and a half. That's not consistent. So my challenge to you is to create your system, but implement it consistently so you can actually tell if it's working. Because even with the best of systems, you're always going to have to tweak it. You're going to have to refine it because you want it to be at its best. So just know that any area of your life that you want to be more consistent and you want to be more successful, there has to be a system that precedes that. All right. So shout out to you for working on your systems this week. Let me know what you thought about this week's episode and make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you resonated with today's message. All right. Until next time, continue working hard so you can live soft. I've noticed that more and more women are wanting to start their business, but the logistics of building a business is causing them to hesitate or procrastinate. Is that you? Be honest. You know you have a skill set or a message inside of you that can transform someone's life or business, but there's so much noise online that you don't know where to start. Okay, here's the advice I'd give to you and what we've done for our clients. First, you need to get really clear on what you want to be known for. What is your expertise? What are your top skill sets? You need to get clear on your message and how you want to package it. Next, you need to create an offer that can accomplish 2 things. It needs to make you money and it needs to make an impact. Then you need to create a marketing strategy that's going to get you in front of your dream clients. And lastly, you need to implement a system so your revenue can become predictable month after month. This is exactly how we help our clients and been able to get them results. Like one of our clients, Tiaya, who generated over $17,000 from taking her expertise as a writer and launching a program for inspiring authors. Or Jennifer, who took her skills as a school teacher and generated $30,000 in 30 days by helping other school teachers make money as a tutor. And those are just 2 of hundreds of examples of our clients who have been through our framework. You can start building your brand and getting your first set of clients within the next 90 days with the right support and the right focus. If you've been looking for coaching, community, and expert guidance so you can take your business to the next level, stop feeling so confused online, apply to work with us, go to buildtoimpact.com/ready. Let's hop on a call and take your business to the next level.